Okay, Mr. Tennant, you have 2.5 minutes. The time will start when you start speaking, and leave the questions afterwards.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm a chartered engineer and a fellow of both the Institute of Structural Engineers and Civil Engineers. The committee report states this proposal will be a brutal intervention and significantly harmful. It acknowledges that this proposal is contrary to at least 22 of the Council's policies, which states this is outweighed by the need for the proposal and a lack of any viable alternatives. This is incorrect. There are viable, less harmful alternatives. So let's start by looking at the need. The flood study overstates the catchment area by 25%, the pool volume by 100%, and unfriendly outflow capacity by 50%. These factors led to both the risk and consequences of downfilling being overstated. But don't take our word for it. Let's look at what Cheshire East Council and their consultants tell us in the report. Jacobs, in the 2019 flood study, stated dam will overtop in a 150-year event. Cheshire East Council in their S19 flood incident report on July 2019 event noted that Presbyterian rainfall on Trace 2 miles away there was a 1 in 150-year event with 130 millimetres of rainfall, but the pool didn't overtop. It didn't come anywhere near overtopping. In fact, going back to 50 years, I can find no evidence, either documented or anecdotal, that pool flooding or coming close to flooding. Let's move on to viable alternatives. Firstly, I consider the proposed scheme to be highly unusual compared to dozens of the reservoir upgrade schemes I either worked on or seen in the last 30 years in the water industry. In fact, I've never come across a scheme like this than the existing reservoir, felling and cutting down 80 trees and 250-year-old earth embankments of unknown composition carry significant risks. The soil moisture content will densely increase, the shear strength will reduce, the huge root mass will die back and seepage paths will develop. All these factors in combination reduce our stability. But again, don't take our word for it. Jacobs in the 2019 flood study recommend geotechnical investigations of the environment to find out its seepage characteristics. If you wish to read, there's a nice paper by Arts telling you about the risks of removing trees and earth embankments. Friends of Poynton Pool created 3 schemes. One of them is on grounds of cost will be implied. We've also produced 2 alternatives in a short period of time. Both of these are conventional reservoir spillway upgrade schemes. They're viable, environmentally friendly, cost-effective alternatives to this application. We've had them costed, they're affordable. So, any proposed work should be based on accurate design data. They should have due regard to the environment and sustainable management principles and natural resources, which is not the case with this proposal. The volume strength of losses is substantial. Decisions are really important. I urge you to reject the proposal or defer pending an independent review.
Okay, thank you. I'll put Councillor Smetham and then Councillor Seddon. Councillor Smetham.
Thank you. I noticed a lot of previous data about things that happened and haven't happened in the past. What is your opinion regarding the projections for flooding in the current news items that we're having about climate change and so on? There's been a lot of extra flooding in Cheshire East this last year or 2, and I wondered if that was anything that you had looked into.
I think the first to say is we understand the importance of reservoir resilience and the catastrophic nature if you have a dam breach. And what we are saying is that this design is based on data which we questioned. I think the question you raised is reasonable, and there's some work building and surveys, etc. And that we want the opportunity to sit down and go through that, to scrutinise that data before such a big decision is made. So yes, flooding is really important. Yes, we've got climate change. Yes, we need to look at all these things, but it needs to be done with good data. If you've got really powerful computers, you put bad data into them, you get a bad output.
Okay, Councillor Seddon.
Yeah, hello. My question is about, you mentioned that removing the trees would reduce the strength of the embankment, but this scheme has sort of concrete levelling it off effect and clay, etc. So I'm just sort of querying, that sounds quite a strong structural feature.
We don't know anything about this embankment, it's not been investigated, but we know there's a lot of trees on the embankment and they're there all the time. Whether you're a structural engineer or a civil engineer, most of us go, God, you try and dig up a tree, the root mass is extensive, it knits the soil together. True, if badly managed trees fall over, they could pull up a root ball and cause a breach to the dam. We only heard people say that trees need to be man-made dam. Horticultural surveys of deceased trees pollinated or removed, not necessarily removed. If you remove a tree, the tree is taking water out of the ground. There's going to be a change in the moisture content. If you increase the moisture content of the soil, much more weight, that's a destabilising force. The roots act to bind the soil, they can intercept shear play within the ground. If the roots die back, it will leave voids in the soil and water can find its way through it. We're saying this needs to be investigated. Generally, I'd say let sleeping dogs lie and don't go out and make a thinking. I could envisage that when you actually start taking out these trees, you might have to rebuild whole squares of the embankment because of what you find. But we don't know what we're going to find because it's not been investigated.
So the idea about removing the trees is to say when the water overflows, it will, I'm assuming that this is the case, but those areas where the trees have been removed, the water will sort of have a more forceful flow, and then it will flow down to the brook.
That's correct. Yeah. So the solution is to cut out two sections of the crest, and it will effectively be a weir where the water overflows. But in order to do that, in those extreme events, the water's got to reach the crest level, and then it will overflow. I think the report talks about 100 mil of water depth over the crest, and then it will flood onto London Road. So that is the means of overflowing. I say it's very unusual. I can't understand why we must have a conventional concrete spillway. Jacob's already identified the conventional concrete spillway as option 2, so it would appear they agree it's a viable solution. So the question then must be on affordability. Will the budgets we've got come back to demonstrate affordability? So I just really don't get it. And all we want is a grown-up technical debate. It probably needs to have an independent person sat on that debate because obviously Jacob and Cheshire East spent a lot of time developing a solution. There's maybe lots of things they know that they've thought about that we don't know. We requested that engagement on the 27th of January when there was the petition. We didn't have a meeting. We would like to just go behind closed doors and just talk through a scheme and come up with a solution we think is better. I would suggest you need to have an independent referee, and I would suggest you appoint a panel engineer appointed in the act to be that referee, listen to both sides of the argument and come up with a balanced solution.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Gardner.
Yes, thank you very much. It's very helpful. But you stated that the two options that you suggested as alternatives were affordable. How do they compare to the cost of the proposal being put forward? Are they comparable? A lot more, a little bit more, less?
So I don't know the figures, but offhand I think figures of some 1.5 billion have been bandied about. But that doesn't include the carrot value for the loss of trees, which is, depending which metric you can use, can be 3 or 5 million, talking to the arboriculturists who know about those things. But I'm sure that Friends of Poynton Pool will provide these quotes to you if they haven't already done. For option 1, it was £800,000, and for option 2C, 1.3 million. Those include 30% risk contingency. So I think they're in the right ballpark. Bear in mind, a bunch of amateurs who haven't spent any money, we've done this in a couple of months, doing our own surveys, our own drawings. So there's more work to be done, but we think they're pretty decent. In fact, the only problem we had on our option 2C was it was okay, but we hadn't considered the crest raising and the curve on the crest. I'm sure we could resolve that in a grown-up technical discussion.
And one more question. There's been query about the data that's been provided. You made reference to it. As a technician, would you have anticipated that the volume of water in the pool would be one of the first things to be looked at?
I think it's really easy to be critical after the event. You know, someone does some work and everyone pulls it to pieces, just as we put our options in. Quickly people scurry away and send an email to call telling us what we've got wrong. You know, it's very easy to do that, isn't it? That's why people should talk rather than throw bricks at each other. I think what's happened with these previous reports and the volume in those reports, fair enough. But given the strength of our position and the impact of the works, which are clearly very emotive, it didn't take Friends of Poynton Pool very long to survey the pool and do a reflecting volume, so I think it would be reasonable to validate that key data.
Thank you very much for your honesty and integrity.
Councillor Brooks.
Hi, thank you. The actual depth of the pool seems to be, the key thing here in terms of the dispute that it's 1.2 or 2 metres. It's not very deep really, is it? Poynton swimming pool is deep in places. If it was at the lower end of, say, 1.2 metres, would work still be necessary in your opinion?
It would still be a statutory reservoir if it impounds more than 25,000 cubic metres of water, so yes, it would fall under the Act. But obviously the consequence of the breach means there's less water release. It travels less the distance, there's less energy being released. So it doesn't sound surprising given we know it was the lane was built for canal transportation, and canals are typically about 4 foot deep, so that sort of aligns what we're finding out, that it would be in the order of that kind of depth.
Councillor Clowes.
Thank you. I want your opinion, please. We've been given a lot of data today, and it's been highlighted that houses 2 to 10 on the street to the north of Poynton Pool are also it's Anglesey, close to the road. Can you just provide me with some insight into what the actual flood risk is for those properties if nothing is done, or indeed what it might be if the proposals we have on the table today go ahead?
So, in terms of consequence, there should be no difference in consequence because we are looking to provide the same level of protection. There are 2 design parameters that the flood study, regardless of what you think about the input data, the flood study has two floods we have to cater for, the safety check flood and the design flood. So our proposals have considered both those. So in the event that you have an event that is more severe than those, which could then, by implication, cause failure of the dam, then the consequence is the same in either regard. In the build-up to an event, because the plan application based on proposal that involves overtopping of the crest, as I understand it, that means that in that extreme event you are raising the level of overflow to be in the level of the crest, so it will be more localised flooding. But you've got to bear in mind we're talking about 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 10,000 year events, so that's not
Any other questions? Councillor Kennedy.
Thank you. Just a factual question. Really, we've heard from various representatives mention the different numbers of trees that are going to be removed as a result of this project. Could I just sort of ask somebody, I'm assuming our structural engineer will know, exactly how many trees the proposal before us is introduced, mature trees, are going to disappear.
Okay, again, I'll ask the question based on the knowledge that the information we provided to me by others in the Friends of Poynton Pool group, but the figure is 80 trees, I think, in the latest application that will be Mr. Wakefield's report. I believe from conversations with Mike Ellison from Cheshire Woodlands Trust, who's an horticulturist, he thinks that many more could be adversely impacted by the excavation for the footpath, which is supposed to be clear of roots. So when you start cutting back, chop by the roots of some mature trees, it's not my area, but that could weaken and mean more trees have to be removed.
Thank you.
Could you turn your mic on, please?